Next thing I proceeded to work on was the bottom slide bunks. These rails are what basically the boat sets on. And like I said, since I'm going to be setting in real shallow water, I didn't want to carpet them. Carpeting tends to grab the boats and it makes pushing things off and on a whole lot harder. So I went through and I beveled the backs of them, allow slide up, give it a ramp instead of a blunt face. And then if you'll notice, we've got these black poly runners. They're full length on both sides. They're attached with stainless steel screws, which I proceeded to countersink in with a countersink bit so that they're not sitting there leaving scratchy bits for the boat to get hung up on. And what this material is it is basically a 3-inch poly waterline. The cool part about this stuff is it's impervious to pretty much everything. And it's scrap. You get with any utility contractor, they throw away feet of these every day. I mean, like large amounts, just trash. So I went through and took the circular saw and cut it down where the blue ribs were because I didn't want the blue ribs showing up on the bunks. And then basically once I had 2 strips, the full length, I went through and I screwed them all in. Got them all countersunk and screwed in. This back section here, used a heat gun to heat that up and get it pushed down at the proper angle. That's the nice part about this stuff too. It plays very well with heat. It gets quite malleable. In order to cut that, I tried all kinds of different things. I've tried cutoff wheels, tried Sawzall. Problem is, with the heat, with a cutoff wheel, you end up melting things. Best way I found was with a circular saw. Now, I'm not saying everybody should use a circular saw. If you're not good with a circular saw or super familiar with one, I would say don't even try it. You could get a nice trip to the emergency room or worse, giving you some lovely stitches and wonderful stories to tell your friends about. But if you are good with a circular saw, that was the easiest way I found to do it. All in all, in order to trim it up and get it flushed up with the sides of the 2x4s, I tried a few different things. The best one that I found was an angle grinder and a stripping bit. It is basically a Scotch-Brite pad, but the nice part about it is it stays cool and it doesn't heat the poly up to the point where it starts melting up and turning into a big gummy mess. The other thing that works out good is a brand new flappy wheel. These are great. If you do a lot of metal with them, they will lose their abrasion. So get a brand new one. It'll take off material quicker without heating it up and getting it to melt. That was the biggest challenge on this one, was how to flush up those poly runners. And the best thing I found was that stripping wheel and a brand new flappy wheel. Really ended up doing a nice job to it when it was all said and done.